Hey everyone, and welcome as we continue our study through the New Testament Gospels, uh, looking at the 250 events in the life of Jesus. And today we're looking at Jesus appearing or appears to Thomas. And this is recorded in John 20, verses 24 through 31. And so we'll read that and look at the notes real quick. It says, verse 24 says, one of the 12 disciples, Thomas, nicknamed the twin, was not with the others when Jesus came. They told him, "We have seen the Lord." But he replied, "I won't believe it unless I see the nail wounds in his hands and put my fingers in them and place my hand in the wound in his side." 8 days later, the disciples were together again, and this time Thomas was with them. The doors were locked, but suddenly, as before, Jesus was standing among them. "Peace be with you," he said. Then he said to Thomas, "Put your finger here and look at my hands. Put your hand in the wound in my side. Don't be faithless any longer. Believe." "My Lord and my God," Thomas explained. Then Jesus told him, "You believe because you have seen me. Blessed are those who believe without seeing me." And then John kind of gives a little bit of a narrative of the purpose of the book here. He says the disciples saw Jesus do many other miraculous signs in addition to the ones recorded in this book, but that but the, but these are written so that you may continue to believe that Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of God, and that by believing in him, you will have a life by the power of his name. And so, again, this is another quick one, short one to look at, but I wanted to emphasize on the things here. One of the things we see, Jesus wasn't hard on Thomas for his doubts. And this is something that we've got to get good at or better at in the church is we tend to come down hard on someone if they have doubts or they have questions. I've seen this happen before, especially kids, right? If a kid is like questioning something or struggling with something, it's like, well, you just don't have enough faith. Or you're not allowed to question. If you ask questions, then it makes you a bad Christian and you just need to believe what I tell you type of mentality. And Jesus' own apostles didn't have that. And so what makes we think you think we should? We shouldn't, and that's honestly a problem with a lot of Christianity today. It's just you should believe this because I told you this is what it is. Don't question it, don't study it for yourself. Don't, do that kind of stuff. But you just believe what I say. And I was like, that's not how this is supposed to work, right? There's a healthy skepticism, there's a healthy doubting, because when you doubt, when you question things, you look for answers. And in Christianity, the bigger you dig, the more answers you're going to find. And the one thing I've learned from this is, as I've, over the last 8, 10, 12 years, really dug into my, trying to find my own faith and stuff like that, not just going by, well, so and so told me this, so I'm going to believe it, or my grandpa, this is what my grandma and grandpa believed, or this is what my mom and dad believe, so this is what I'm going to believe. No, you have to find your own faith. You have to research it and dig into it. And that's what Thomas did. Thomas didn't just believe them because they said they did. He believed them after he saw the evidence of it. And we need to have and we need to dig down and find the evidence that's there. It's in the Bible. We're looking at it now. And so those are the type of things that we do. And so despite his skepticism, Thomas was still loyal to the believers and to Jesus himself. It's not like he said, "I don't believe it," and walked away. He just said, I need this. I need to do this." And so some people need to doubt before they can believe. And if we're not, and this is the problem, if we're not comfortable with people doubting and asking questions about our faith, then how strong and secure are we in our faith? And that's the thing. I've seen teachers, and I've seen, especially in youth, because youth are going to ask questions. They want answers. And one of the wonderful things I love about this generation coming up that I've seen is they're not afraid to ask questions, and they're asking hard questions. I mean, I've sat in Bible studies, and I'm like, you know what? I have no idea that. I have no idea the answer to that question. They're asking more mature questions than people who've been Christians for 40 years. I mean, they truly want the answers, and they're asking the hard questions. But so often, our reaction to the hard questions, because we can't answer them, and it hurts our ego, right? Then it's a negative reaction to them. Say, "Oh, well, you just need to believe this. No, don't be questioning it. Don't do it." It's like, no, that's not how that works. If we don't know the answer as an adult or someone who's been a Christian longer, find the answer. Don't get on to them for asking the hard questions. So we've got to make sure we do that. If doubts lead to questions and questions lead to answers, And if the answers are accepted, then doubt has done a good job, has done a good work. I mean, that's the purpose of it. And again, I'm talking about a healthy, doubt, a healthy skepticism. I mean, I'm not talking about just unhealthy, not believing anything no matter what you say, or purposely trying to, cause problems, trip things up. That's not what I'm talking about. I mean, obviously, that's not a Christian attitude, and that I don't think that's going to be the attitude of someone who's a Christian, anyways. But it's this healthy asking the questions, digging deep, asking the why behind the why, looking into it and finding out, not just being like, well, my preacher preached this on Sunday, so I believe it, no, dig into that and find out why you believe that too, or if you do agree with it. And so some people think that if they would believe in Jesus, if they could see a definite sign or miracle, right? There's some people who say, I'd believe him if I had this proof and stuff like that, or this definite thing right here. But Jesus says, look, he told Thomas and him, he said, you believe because you saw, and because you touched the wounds and saw the wounds like that. Blessed are those who see, who believe without seeing that. And that's true faith. And we have all the evidence, right? We have the Bible, we have all these things that we can see. But sometimes I'm like, yeah, man, it would be awesome if Jesus come down and I could say it. But he's saying, blessed, without seeing him, if you believe without seeing him. And so that's what we're called to do, and that's what I do. And again, you can, I'm one of the top ones who are going to have doubts and ask questions and do that stuff. All the time, I'm one of those people that just, I question everything, and not to be you know mean or hateful, or it's just, that's just my nature. I'm inquisitive. I like to know the why behind the what, and so I like to dig and find that thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's healthy. And if you're not doing that, you should be doing that. And you shouldn't just be like, well, my preacher taught this on Sunday, or in Bible study, so that's what I believe. That can be dangerous, right? I tell people when I'm teaching a class, don't believe it just because I say it, because I could be wrong, right? I've taught things that were wrong before, and I've gone back and there are things that I taught 5 or 6 years ago that I wouldn't teach today, and so we all got to be careful in that, because none of us are perfect. We see things, we think things, right? Or we were taught things, and so as you go through it, you as you get more mature, you learn, and it's like, oh, okay, this is different than what I thought it was. And so there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with admitting that you were wrong. And so we have to be able to admit that and learn to do that. And honestly, I think there's a healthy way of being more like Thomas, you know and this, we come down hard on Thomas, but Jesus didn't, so we shouldn't, and we shouldn't come down hard on the Thomases around us who are asking questions. We should help them find the answers that they're looking for. Um, and then John kind of closes off with this chapter with the purpose of this book, and it's how he saw Jesus do many other miracles and signs in addition to the ones recorded in the book. And basically, the purpose of this is these are written so that you could continue to believe, and his author, who he was writing to, would continue to believe that Jesus was the Messiah, the Son of God, and that by believing in him, you will have eternal life, the life that comes by what says power of his name. And so that's John says, look, he finishes that off with, blessed are those who believe without seeing me. And then he goes, I write this so you'll believe. And that's the wonderful message that we see in John. So, as always, I appreciate everyone for watching and following along. Again, we are getting closer and closer to the end. And so I do appreciate that. And I hope time has been well spent for you and you've learned from it. I know I have. I always learn from these as I go through them. So I do appreciate that. As always, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, go ahead and do that, because we're going to continue to go into some deeper studies. I think we're going to move to more of a weekly format, maybe a little bit longer form as we go in. But as always, I appreciate everyone for watching.